Welcome everyone to the Go briefing for Q1 2023 from wherever you are from across the Red Cross Red Crescent network. My name is Luke Cayley. I'm the Information Management Lead for the IFRC. As ever, with these briefings, we will be describing a little bit of what we've been doing, what we will be doing in the next months and even beyond that, and we'd like to hear your engagement, so please do keep those questions in the chat coming. Here's the agenda. We kick off by looking a little bit at our key performance indicators, and analytics to understand the performance of the platform itself, who's using it, when, how, and so we pick out various stories each quarter, and we'll describe those in a second. Then we'll be looking back. What have we done in the first quarter of the year? There've been a number of design sprints. We'll explain what that terminology means. We'll hear from those who've been leading them. We've got some more information coming on the risk module, which we'll share, and then some improvements to the user interface, the UI of Go, particularly the search page, but there's a couple of other things there too. Then we'll talk a little bit more in a discussion mode around the Go advisory and working groups. We've reinitiated these groups, and so we'll explain to you how they work, how you can get involved, and keen for your comments on that. And then we'll look ahead. So we've got some big changes in the next quarter. We expect to change the navigation of Go pretty much fundamentally. We have federation-wide 3W reporting, hopefully coming onto the platform, but at least we've got a process that we can tell you about to get us there. And then, excitingly, we're able to now soon offer all of the 4 IFRC languages to be translated on the fly. So not just the site, the static information, but also the user content. So if you're submitting a DREF in one language, it can be reviewed in a different language. And so that's pretty exciting in terms of increasing the accessibility of the platform and our workflows. We'll talk about the work plan. We really do want your questions, honest, and so please keep those, and we'll reserve 10 minutes at least for those as we go, which means we'll carry on quickly. So top left-hand corner, you can see the Go logo and the address, assuming a bit of knowledge, but we always start the briefings with a description of where we get the data from and how we use it to an extent. So on the left-hand side, you can see the IFRC systems. This is all of the data that we house in the Secretariat, the funding, where it's coming from, where it's going to, the deployments of surge personnel traveling from one Red Cross to a sister Red Crescent or vice versa, so it's the way that we access and surface the data that is managed by the IFRC. But the most important thing is the IFRC network data. These are field reports coming from national societies about to or already responding to crises across the world. They're the requests for international assistance coming from the DREF or other means of communication. The 3W, the who, what, where, which tracks long-term projects as well as the support that's delivered in an emergency, and so on. Preparedness for effective response that actually add into that core data set, and we'll talk about that a little while. And then external sources. So this is the information that we're increasingly bringing onto the platform to curate what's out there to help us to act earlier, to be better informed about risks. And so, again, we will describe that in more detail soon. Then from Go itself, which is depicted by this laptop, you get access to the data itself. So you can plug that into your own information management system, whether that's National Society or any other entity that wants to understand a bit more about the data that we house on emergency operations. It's all there, and we've got instructions on the Go user library and how to access it. And then, yeah, we have increasing number of tools, so specifically focused on emergency operations. There's the timeline toolbox, there's dashboards that you can look into operational learning, there's the catalog of surge services, and we'll be adding the assessment toolbox fairly soon. So, and then on the right-hand side, you've got the platform that we all know and some of us love. Okay, a little bit about the key performance indicators for the platform. Here you can see for over the last quarter, the range of users, the 23,000 users who are coming to the platform. You can see a peak, obviously, with the major sudden onset emergency in Turkey and Syria in early February. And you can see that that sustains over time, and we see that with all big emergencies. They also tend to change the way that we do things on Go. There's some specificity for that emergency that enables us to continue to improve the platform to make sure that we're meeting the information needs of the network. The platform is accessed pretty much from around the globe. This is data coming from our Google Analytics, which tracks who accesses the platform and from where. And you can see that on the left-hand side, whilst of course the Go, the IFRC Go homepage is has the most views. People are really interested in the deployments. They're interested to understand where they can fill surge gaps, whether either individually or national societies, surge desks, understanding that better. A bit further down, we can see country pages, which we really hope to see rise up the rankings, because we're increasing the visibility, but also the utility of those pages. Talk about that again in a little while. And then finally, from the Go Analytics, this shows you the comparison between emergency appeal emergency pages and DREF emergency pages, blue being EAs and pink being the DREFs. Not surprisingly, emergency appeals, which are by their very nature bigger emergencies, retain greater number of average users per day, and we would like to increase the number of users for DREF emergency pages, and we'll talk about a bit about how we're aiming to do that in a while. But essentially, we would expect that not just those big emergencies, national societies can gain value from the kind of coordination aspect that Go provides, but also for national society operations, that we could see increasing use by the national society themselves, but also those who are supporting the DREF or that emergency, increasing over time. So we'll keep a track on that and report on it in times to come. You can obviously see that the big emergencies of the last year and a half or so, or year and 3 quarters, 1 quarter, are labeled there, and they really do represent a spike in the use of the platform. Okay, so I'm going to pass over to Ana Maria Escobar to talk us a little bit through the DREF sprint. But before I do, I just wanted to demystify what a sprint is. We use a lot of software development terminology in these briefings and in general, because what we're doing is trying to translate our humanitarian work into a software platform. Sprints are generally a time when the whole teams, in simple terms, the whole team who's working on a particular feature come together. They close their outlook, so they're not, and they focus on tackling certain tasks. They normally look like this, people sitting around a table, all collaborating around a specific issue with a whiteboard and Excel and a lot of coffee. And chocolate doesn't harm anything. So that's essentially what it looks like. But we think it's a good way for us to really focus on progressing the work that we've been doing. These specific modules, where previously we were looking at the whole of Go, now we look at individual features, and it's providing us a lot more focus to move things forward. So to tell us about the DREF sprint, I'm going to hand over to Ana Maria Escobar, and I'll just go on mute.
Thank you so much, Luke. Hello, everyone. As Luke was saying, we had a DREF Go sprint last month. So for you to have a little bit of context on where are we with the DREF in Go, we are happy to say that we have the whole process already integrated into Go. That means that the National Society can actually go, start the application process. They can get the approval through Go. They can post an operational update, a final report, and they can actually get exports of all of these documents. That is awesome. It has simplified the process, the application process and the approval process. And now we have a beautiful data set, very structured, that is hosted in Go. But what we are not doing is we are not connecting all of this information into the emergency pages that we have in Go. So as Luca was showing on the previous slide, the emergency pages, they have a lot of views, but DREF emergency pages, they don't have. And this is also connected on, in an emergency appeal, we do have a lot of people, IM coordinators, producing information and keeping the page up to date. In smaller DREF operations, we don't have the capacity of do that. But now, having all of the information that we have in the application, the operational update and final reports, we are looking actually in pre-populating the DREF emergency pages, showing a little bit what is happening and what is the most current information. And we are also looking into having a DREF analysis page, so we are able to actually see trends, see historical data, and be able to compare a little bit with all of this that we have now. I think that's it from my side. Back to you, Luke.
Thanks a lot, Ana Maria. And yeah, this obviously is work that we did with DREF, also ongoing with the DREF team, as you can see on that slide. You can read more the blog there, where we're going next. But yeah, I did want to flag one thing, which is an opportunity for anyone to submit a data visualization with the DREF data that we have, which will help us to have better analytics, better view on what users actually want. Perhaps you have some innovative way of describing or visualizing that data that we should take note of. And excitingly, you will win, if you are successful, in all expenses paid to trip to the Innovation Summit in June in Nairobi. Pretty exciting. I mean, so basically, it doesn't need to be a really polished data visualization. It can even be pretty much a sketch. We're just really interested to hear from our network what you would expect to find on a DREF analytics page on Go. Okay, the deadline's there, so you know, that's your weekend plans sorted, I think. All right, so next slide is onto the country pages. Now, this has been led by our National Society Department, National Society Development Services Department in the IFRC, but with a lot of consultation. Unfortunately, Alex Howes, who's led this, is not with us today, but I will try to present the information that you see there. So essentially, she had and you know, with our user experience company Yellow Umbrella, a number of discussions with different users, and what you see in those post-it notes are the areas that people want to find on the Go country pages, like systematically, essentially. You can the size of the areas are indicated in the number of mentions, and the color, the different categories, as you can see. So there's a lot of things that you would expect to see, some perhaps more surprising. We would expect that Go country pages would present most of this information, as long as there is a structured source for us to find it. We don't think this Go country page should be the exclusive place to find it. You might find it in the FDRS system, the Federation-wide Data Bank and Reporting System, or elsewhere. But that's the beauty of data these days. You can find the same source in different places depending on your workflow and your interest. So that's our stage we're at. We had a one-day work sprint, with a number of national societies involved in that. we will be continuing on the wireframing, which means designs for the platform itself, process over the coming weeks, and we'll get back to those who've been involved very soon. Okay, so that's the country pages. Now over to Paola Yelabello to describe the Preparedness for Effective Response sprint. Over to you, Paola.
Thank you very much, Luke. So the PR sprint started because the PR team demanded us to work on the PR module on Go, mostly to leverage the information that is collected through the PR process. So PR, for those that doesn't know, is a Preparedness for Effective Response framework, and it has different phases: the orientation phase, the assessment phase, the prioritization phase, the work plan, and implementation. And in Go, before we had just the assessment. So we are working to be able to reflect the whole process in Go, so that we can make better use of this and in the platform that has the ecosystem of other National Society operational data. So this sprint started from last year. Dagem, our information analyst intern in the team, with our PR team and the rest of IM, part of the IM team, started working in the functional requirements. It was highly iterative. It had kind of the IM-PR person focal point, but also went through consultation with the PR core team, with facilitators, so that at the end they can have these requirements that we used in our sprint in February, March to design the wireframes. That the sprint was highly also iterative. We had a meeting with our developers of Go, with our user experience expert, and with our PR team, so that at the end we have some wireframes that we think are very useful and nice, and here they are. So yeah, this is one of the sections. As you know, assessments is just one of the parts of the PR approach, but here you can see a redesign with all the different areas, components, benchmarks. It has the new developments of the approach. So, for example, urban considerations, climate considerations, but has also the visualization bit that allows you to keep updated of what you are entering in the form. So we are very excited. And yesterday, the development team started to work on this. So yeah, that's the update.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, Paola. Much appreciate that. So then over to our colleague Justin Giannetti, who's leading the UN in the Merry Dance in Bonn. Over to you, Justin.
Thanks, Luke. Good day, everyone. Greetings from Bonn. Just to start off with a quick reminder of what we did previously and the most recent update. Toward the end of 2022, we added some Inform data and custom analysis features that allowed people to use the Inform Risk Index monthly data to look at risk per country per month for specific hazards over multiple months, say for like the monsoon season or for the North Atlantic hurricane season in the Americas. And this time, we have focused a bit on the imminent events. So the most recent updates are adding the impact forecasts from the WFP's ATOM model, which you can see highlighted in the bottom right of that screen grab there. So when you're on the imminent events tab of the Risk Watch, you can toggle between the PDC's impact forecasts, which have always been there, and now the ATOM forecasts. And then if we skip ahead to the next slide, the other thing that we've incorporated is the wildfire event detection from the PDC. So that's another hazard and type of disaster event for which we're receiving impact forecasts, or at least exposure forecasts for those events that are occurring. And then in terms of what's next in the coming month or two, we'll be adding additional impact forecasts from GDAX and Meteo Suisse. We'll be adding monthly country data on wildfire risk. So that looks at both historical wildfire risk and current projections for 2013. And based on the initial work in the Global Crisis Data Bank, we will be updating on the country pages the table of impacts for return periods by adding information about high frequency, low severity events, so events that occur annually or on a 5 or 10 year return period basis. And that's for all the countries. This will be figures like people affected, people at risk of displacement, and people expected to be killed by disasters for specific hazards. And then in addition, we'll be bringing more of that historical data. We'll be exposing it to the Go platform on those country pages as well. So you'll see just a lot more information there for each country. Thanks. That's it. And back to you, Luke.
Thanks a lot, Justin. We know that the risk information, well, we think it's very valuable, and Justin and team have done a great job bringing in all of these different sources. It currently resides mostly on the regional pages. That's where you can find it. We will be surfacing a kind of global page within a navigation update, so it's easier to find. I think we're ready for our coming out of this risk module, which has been a lot of work for a lot of people involved. So yeah, well done, Justin. And over to Daniel, who'll talk us through the improvements we're making to the search page. Over to you, Daniel.
Yeah, thanks, Luke. Hi, everyone. So last year we had a user consultation, and part of the feedback was that it's really difficult to find particular content on the site. So we decided to tackle this and improve the search functionality. So it's a bit hidden because if you don't know the trick, then you might not find this functionality. So and the trick is very easy. So as usual, you add your search term in the search field and then hit enter. Previously, you could only find countries, appeals, emergencies, and field reports in the search field. But now, after a short progress, you will find emergencies, reports, projects, even surge alerts and deployments, as well as some occasionally administrative areas. So yeah, I think it will be really useful, and we know that it's not completely fine. I mean, we could improve this, and we are really open to hear your suggestions how to improve that. I know the performance is not the greatest, and maybe you have other ideas how to order the results or something like that. So if you have such ideas, please use the button on the top, the red button, where you can provide your feedback in a very short form. So basically, that's it.
Thanks a lot, Daniel. Thank you. And this, yeah, we think this is pretty useful actually. But yeah, now you're power users because you know how to find it. We will make it a bit easier to find once we have the navigation update and we are confident that we've tackled the feedback that we're getting from users like you. Okay, so next slide is on the Go ecosystem. Brand title for the different groups that we have to deliver on the platform. So there's 3 levels there. You can see the strategic level, which has the Go Secretariat Advisory Group and the Go Members Advisory Group. These are giving us overall direction, ensuring that we're not blind to the developments in different parts of our network, and give us an insight into what should be prioritized. The Go Secretariat Advisory Group is chaired by Caroline Holt, who's the Disaster Climate and Crisis Director here in Geneva and for the IFRC. We have the Office of Secretary General, National NSD, the National Society Development, Health and Care and Digital Transformation Directors. We also have the Membership Coordination and DCC managers involved in that group. We had the first meeting a couple of weeks ago, and they provided some really good insight in terms of what the priorities should be. That we'll put a little bit more detail on the blog, but essentially they're looking at Go being a place that can track some decisions, that can be a single source of truth for some data. So it's all very much in line with the way that we heard from the members during the Go study. So onto the members advisory group, which is again, something we've just started with those national societies represented. You can see there who were all selected by the regional offices over the last couple of years to be on briefings, these quarterly briefings. And so we know that they have specific interests. So it's a good variety of their user stories and levels of engagement. But I think these are national societies that really have adopted Go, and so we're hearing from them, and you will be using them as a way to get in feedback, testing, and so on. But yeah, if you're interested, then please do get involved. To get involved, please do contact im@ifrc.org. If you're not on that list as a national society, then we would be keen to hear from you. Obviously, we're kind of a really big group, and but we think that the door isn't closed, and we're interested to hear from anybody else who would be willing to commit a bit of time to help us to improve the service for essentially the membership and the National Society workflows. So then we have the operational level. These are the developers who, on the left-hand side, you can see some of it in-housed in the Global Service Center in Budapest, some of it from Data Friendly Space and Togglecorp in Nepal, is where most of our developers are actually based. Development Seed, who've been with us since the first launch of the platform. Our dear Sanjay, who's based in Goa in India, and providing kind of system architecture, let's say. So the overview of the platform. With Yellow Umbrella, Mariam, who many of you will have had an interview with at some point when we're discovering your user story for different features and processes on Go. And then we have the project management. These terminologies that you might be unfamiliar with, all from the software development world. I'm the product owner, so that means I have the ultimate call on what goes on Go. The Scrum Master, that's Daniel, you've just heard from, who is the one who organizes the developers, sets the tempo of the development sprints and so on. Geospatial services, we have David Mukatitsa, who is based in Budapest, working on improving the geographic data that we have on the platform. We've got lots of exciting things coming very soon on that, and data quality and outreach provided by colleagues in Geneva and the regional offices. And then we've got the sprints. So we've heard from Anna Muir, who's leading on the DREF. The focal point for the Federation-wide 3W is Simon, we'll hear from very soon. Risk, Justin, you country pages. Alex, we're sadly missing from this meeting. Operational learning, Paola's also leading on that. At the moment, it's in the consultation phase. PER, normally, like Paola mentioned, Dagam is the focal point, but he was deployed to Turkey to support the earthquake response. So she kindly stepped in to that role. Myself and Daniel are taking on the kind of overall navigation, and Vincent Anoni is developing a concept around and how we use the data on Go for better analysis. So in summary, that is, well, very early stages, but will be a way for us to semi-automate some of the reporting that we all need to do, for us to curate some of the key data sets that we think would be useful for different workflows. And so, yeah, it's still fairly early stages with that one. You have probably you have their email addresses already, but please do contact im@ifrc.org if you're interested to hear more about those sprints. Okay, moving on. Unfortunately, more of my voice. Go navigation update. So as I said, I'm leading on this one with our user experience design colleagues Yellow Umbrella, providing these wireframes you can see here. It's going to be quite a big change to the way that we know and navigate the platform. And so you can see one of the major changes is to really highlight the profile area, which would have all of the actions that you as a user on Go, once you've logged in, are doing. So it's the submission of field reports, it's the application for DREF, it's whether you've got to update the work plan for preparedness for effective response, PER. Here would be your go-to on Go. We're going to have to work out all of the puns that we use, because you'd be your go-to on Go would be pretty painful for us all to say. But yeah, you will see lots of like the actions that you should be taking in an easy interface. Here, a little bit more detail as you have more actions that you're taking. Obviously, there was already quite a lot there in the account. I'm not sure everybody's aware, but as you log in, you can subscribe to certain emergencies that are updated. You can subscribe to other types of notifications you're interested in, different types of hazards or locations. So please do take a look, and please do log in. That's you'll find more information if you do so. And every person in the Red Cross Red Crescent network is entitled to that login. And so, yeah, the top navigation will also change. So we'll be surfacing the countries more obviously than previously. You still need to drop down to have the grouping of those countries explained through the regional groupings that we have in the IFRC. But you will find those countries a bit easier, and we, as I mentioned earlier, will hope to have more content on those as the country pages are developed. But for each of the drop downs, we will have different options so that you can really see at a glance much more easily what the different options are for you to take actions on Go. You can see them there. We're going for a bit easier to understand jargon. So active verbs like prepare and respond and learn. We know that this is a bit different to some of the terminologies we've become used to. We think this is easier for people to understand, and so based on the results of the Go study, which involved over 400 people organizing information according to their preference, we think that these make sense, and we'd get used to them and find it easier, frankly, to find information as time as we go to the platform. So you can see it there. There's a few more steps to go before we actually launch it on the platform. Get in touch if you want to hear about more of this. But yeah, it's on the basis of the extensive study that we had last year. This is what the direction we're going in, and we hope that it will make it easier for you to find what you're looking for on Go. Okay, that's enough from my side. I'm going to pass over to Simon Weiss from the FDRS team. Over to you, Simon.
Thanks, Luke. And hi, everyone. I'm Simon. I'm a Federation-wide data analyst working on the Ukraine Impact Crisis operation based in Budapest. And over the past months, we've been working at merging and improving the current 3Ws for international emergencies, merging with the COBO, the Federation-wide COBO ITT, into a single unified tool on the Go platform. So now we're calling them Federation-wide 3Ws, or what we can also Federation-wide indicator tracking tool. And the goal is to bring more ownership of this tool to national societies and to PMER with rebrand data quality assurance checks within this tool. And just to provide a bit of a background, it's all bring down to a decision of the IFRC Governing Board taken in 2019 to establish a federation-wide approach during large-scale emergencies, any emergent operation that exceed 10 million CHF franc in 1 year, to establish a federation-wide reporting and monitoring system as the standardized requirements for operations, and to call upon national societies to contribute to the joint response plan and to contribute to a federation-wide reporting. So in that sense, it's here you see all the required more PMER or strategic document required during an operation, federation-wide emergency appeal, operational strategies, federation-wide national society response plan, and all of those documents, strategic documents, need a high-quality federation-wide response data collected on a regular basis. And we believe that this data should be collected on the Go platform through federation-wide 3Ws. And on the next slide, we have summarize the goal of the federation-wide integration project into Go. As mentioned, we aim at merging the 3Ws for emergencies and what we use for federation-wide COBO ITT during the COVID-19 global emergency, during the Ukraine operation, into one optimized tool on Go. And the goal is to deliver a centralized platform during large-scale emergencies and empowering national society through data ownership and owning the data assurance quality checks on the platform. So we are thinking about bringing data quality checks and automatic visualizations. And we also, one of the third goal is to integrate the standardized indicator data bank built by PMER to build monitoring coherence across the operations, and to give ownership of this tool to the wider team, not only IEM team, but also PMER teams, and that's a joint tool that all the team can use together. And as a result of this work over the past months, we have identified over 22 features. We have initiated the consultation process with IFRC PMER teams, starting from 3Ws and the Federation COBO ITT, and identify those 22 features and into 7 categories. And now we developed the first 4 iframes that are available. And we are now calling today anyone interested in joining us in our user testing group for this new tool. We're calling on national societies, IM, IFRC, IM, anyone interested to join us. So if you're interested, please scan the QR code, and we're going to join also to share the COBO link to join the user testing, and you will hear soon the forums. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks a lot, Simon. And yes, great collaboration, and really excited about having this unified, optimized tool. I like that phrase. Okay, so now over to Daniel Tavari, who will talk us through another exciting change we're going to bring on Go fairly soon, which will make the whole platform more accessible for the whole network. Over to you, Daniel.
Thanks, Luke. Yeah, so indeed, since early 2021, we have the site in 4 languages. But unfortunately, the user content that you enter is still only available on the input language itself, not translated at the moment. It will be changed soon, probably already in June or July. We have a working prototype already on our staging environment. So how will it work? Basically, you input the data, you fill the field report, and when you submit it, then it will be automatically translated to the other 3 languages, to French, Spanish, and Arabic. There will be a small banner on the top saying that this is an automated translation. and in the future you will be able to edit your field report or content on the original language. In case you need to improve the translations, then it can be done on the admin page. What else? We will try to improve the translation service by training it with the RCR and the Red Cross jargon. So hopefully it will improve the quality significantly. And that's it, I think. Thanks, Luke.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Daniel. We're not promising that we'll be able to translate the RC and the ERC jargon into English, by the way, just for clarity. Very exciting, and thanks a lot. Again, good collaboration with the IFRC IT department here to make this happen. So yeah, looking good for launch fairly soon. I think you're continuing to talk about the work plan, so back to you.
Yeah. Thanks. A few words about the ongoing development. The risk module and the DREF development is going throughout the year mainly, and as we have the requirements, as you see the wireframes for the PER, we will start working on that as well pretty soon. Already ongoing development is the admin 2 selection on the map. So in the field reports and other places on Go, you will be able to select administrative area 2 level as well. So at the moment only the country and the region or province level is available, but you will be able to select one level down as well on the administrative level 2, and this can be done on a map as well. We will start working on soon the country page update, the navigation update, and the simplified reporting is also an initiative where we would like to improve the reporting approach, to break these reporting silos and connect better the different reporting products.
Great, perfect. And you can find the work plan and more detail on any of, well, most of the features on Go on the Go blog that you can see the URL for there now, as well as all of the briefing notes, the slides and the recordings of these briefings going back a couple of years now. So yeah, please do check that out for more detail. All right, so I think we're at the end of the presentation, the briefing section of this session today. So I'll stop sharing and see if there are any questions. One from Andrew, more about the geo things in the pipeline coming up would be good. We have a bunch of things. So where do I start? So firstly, we're, as I think Daniel mentioned, we're putting more admin 2, which means, country is admin 0, normally province, but there's different names for it. There's admin 1, and then could be districts admin 2. We have that data for a number of countries using the data from ICRC and UN colleagues and national sources. And we're basically about to present that on to Go in terms of selections. So you can decide to submit a 3W project down to admin 2, for example, or a DREF application, a field report, and so on. So that's coming very soon, and we will do that through a use of a map. So it won't just be a drop down. We also have a lot of information from national societies around their branch locations, and so we will be introducing, we have that in the Go database, but we'll be introducing not only the visualization of that, but really for us critically, an ability for those responsible to edit, update, and extract and use the information for different purposes. So lots of things coming. Likely we'll have something over the next quarter, but it's an ongoing development as things are carrying on. So thanks for that. Natalie asks the great question around maintenance, which there's always a challenge, but we've got some quite neat solutions, and happy to take a longer session about the geo features. Maybe we'll make sure to spend a bit more time on the next briefing to explain how we've got to where we are, what our plans are, and hopefully we'll have something on the platform by that time to show. But we think, this is vital information, but it's not, this is our information. This is this is the national societies who have to manage that information to make sure that it's up to date, and so we're ensuring that the user experience is quite good, so that that's easily done.